A quick one. I want to quickly show you how to create a table of content in 5 minutes or less. So go ahead and create a blank document in your Microsoft Word. Now in your definitely we want to work with fictitious data or content. So there's a function in Word called run function. So just issue the command just the way you have it here. I need let's say 5 paragraphs, each with 4 sentences. All right, so enter. That might not be enough, so but let's just do Control Z. Increase the number of paragraphs to say 25 paragraphs, each with 5 sentences in them. All right, good. So that gives me a whole lot of content, about 4 pages. So Control Home should take you back to what's called the beginning of your document. I guess the laptop I'm using does not have the home button. All right, so I'll just kindly scroll back to the top. But if you have a home button on your keyboard, kindly use your Control Home. It takes you back to the very first page in your document. Now, on each page, kindly hit the Enter button and type in a chapter number. Let's just use this to depict our different chapters. All right, so select chapter 1. You could bring your mouse in front of it to select it. Give it a heading style of heading 1. Kindly remember that. You can close the navigation pane. We don't need that. All right, move next to the next page. Next page, good. Let me push the whole of this down. Control Enter will push this down. Then enter, then move up one step and type in your chapter 2. Select your chapter 2 and also give it a heading style of heading 1. So I believe you've gotten the drift now. So kindly move ahead and do yours as well. So I'll just work with say 4 chapters and I'm good to go. So Control Enter will push this down. Enter once, then chapter 3. A quick way to select is just to move your mouse in front and click once, then give it a heading style of heading 1. Then finally, I guess this should be our last chapter. So let's see, good, this should be our last chapter. So Control Enter will push this content to the next page. Enter once, then go back up. Chapter 4. Select chapter 4. Also give it a heading style of heading 1. Now, do your Control Home to go back to the top, or if you don't have a home button like mine, just scroll quickly up to what's it called, the beginning of your document, to the very first page in your document. Now, a Control Enter will push all that content down. While we're pushing all the content down, we need to create a blank page where our table of contents would be placed. All right. Now, but before we go ahead with creating the TOC, that's the table of contents, kindly come to the Insert tab, click on the Insert tab, then come to Page Numbers. All right. Insert your page number. You can insert it at the bottom and make sure it goes to the left or anywhere. It all depends on how you want to format your document. All right, so for me, I like to push it to the right. So I'm going for plain number 3. All right, so you can see that at the bottom here. All right, so go ahead and close the head and footer. All right, so now all you need to do is go to the References tab. Click on the References tab. Now to your far left, you see Table of Contents. Click on the drop down. Then you can decide on which of the options that you want to go for. For me, normally, in most cases, I will settle for Automatic Table 2. Just click on Automatic Table 2 and oops, yes, you now have your table of contents. All right, so it runs through the contents in your document, finds out every heading style 1, for example, and places it in your table of content with the appropriate or corresponding page number. So from this table of contents, it tells us that your chapter 1 is on page 2, Chapter 2 is on page 3, chapter 3 is on page 4, and chapter 4 on page 5. Now let's quickly see one or two things we need to add to our table of contents. Now let's assume somewhere in your chapter 1 you have maybe introduction to cinematography, for example, and you want to make this a sub-heading in under your chapter 1. So select the text, then make sure you switch back to your home tab, go to the styles group and give it a heading style of heading 2. All right, you will see why I'm giving it what's called the heading style of heading 2. So let's assume you have something here as well, another sub-heading, and you want to call that maybe introduction to video editing. All right, also select the text and give it a heading style of what? Heading 2. Now let's go to chapter 2 as well and do something in chapter 2. So let's talk about types of shots. All right, so select that as well, give it a heading style of 2. By now I guess some of us should know why I'm giving the subtitles or sub areas in your chapter that. All right, handling the camera. All right, so also select that and give it a heading style of heading 2. Now I guess that's enough for this tutorial, so let's quickly go back to our table of contents. Now our table of contents is not yet aware of those new changes, so all you need to do is over on the table of contents, click on it, then click on what? Update table. Now yes, it will ask you if you want to just update page numbers or update the entire table. Choose the update entire table option and click on OK. Yep, so you can see now, you can see introduction to cinematography and video editing are subs under chapter 1, so you can see the indentation. So with this, whoever is reading your book knows that these are subtopics under the main chapter 1 topic. All right, then finally I want my chapter 1 to start on page 1. I don't want it to start off on page 2. So how do I push my chapter 1 to page 2, to page 1 rather? Now scroll down to where you have chapter 1. So in front of the word C or chapter 1, go to your layouts, click on breaks, then click on next page break. All right, so with this, you've broken the relationship between the very first page housing your table of contents and your chapter 1. Now quickly go to your home tab, to your insert tab. Quickly go to your insert tab, click on page numbers. All right, now click on format page numbers. Tell it to start from, remember your cursor is actually on page 1 now, on chapter 1 rather. Tell it to start at 1, then click on what? OK. All right, now if you scroll down, you should see page. Good. Now chapter 1 starts on page 1. Now, but we can't have 2 page 1s in what's called a book. So you go back to your table of contents, click on the table of contents, formats, or click anywhere, not on the table of contents, just on that particular page. Click on format page numbers. Can you see the number format? Change your number format to Roman numerals. Now tell it to start from I, that's the Roman numeral I, that's 1. Now good. So with this, we've broken what's called the link between our table of contents page. You can see it starts from what? I. Now when we get to our chapter 1, it starts on page number 1. Now let's go see if our table of contents is aware of all these changes. So what do? We click on the table of contents, then click on what? Update table. Update the entire table and click on what? OK. Now it runs through and it gets to find out that you've made some changes to your document. Now our chapter 1 starts on page 1. Our chapter 2 follows suit and all that. Now that brings me to the end of this very short tutorial. If you like this, kindly click on the like button. And if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get alerted when I upload new videos. Thank you and God bless.